Bildy here. Let's go for a walk. Got my kids with me. Gonna go to the park, one of the parks. Got a choice of parks, right? Разные variant, да? Парки. Что нема парк мой ходит? Ты знаешь? Вот это аквамат.
Парк Анны Ахматовой.
Анна Матовой?
Анна Ахматовой.
Что?
Анны Ахматовой.
Okay, I'll try practicing. Что это? Ты знаешь? Вот. Oh, well, they don't know either. I feel better. They've totally renovated both of them recently. What are we going to talk about today, Uncle Bildy? This might be a long one. I'll try anyway. So I don't get interrupted by some crisis. How about what I saw in the Western news? 100,000 Russian troops are lined up on the border, ready to attack. What bullshit. They might be there. If so, they're countering more than that, lined up around Donetsk, threatening a genocide, which they have been for years. Filtration camps and all that. They openly talk about that stuff. Openly. Massive amounts of equipment from the U.S. being airlifted in and surrounding the Donbass full of Russians because they redrew the borders in the 20s around them in the Soviet Union. It's a very rich region. Iron, coal. There was a lot of industry there. The West's been trying to foobar that. They don't like Uncle Sugar don't like competition. They want to free up the resources for them to use and profit off of. I keep going over this again and again and again because I keep hearing the same crap from people again and again and again and again and again. The U.S. is trying to make Russia invade. And they might have to. They'll have to stage a horrible provocation to get it set off. That's why they're gearing up for that too, by claiming the Russians are making fake videos of a horrible provocation. That way, if they show videos of the horrible provocation, the U.S. will just claim it's all just fake. Like the stuff the U.S. did in Syria with barrel bombs. Syrian army is very well equipped. They didn't need to make bombs out of propane cans. They had hellacious equipment. They didn't need that. That was the terrorists doing. And they'd take film of them laying in the, propane can laying on a bed in an apartment and claim the Syrian army did it. It's just ridiculous. That's what they're going to do now. How many of you are going to buy into it? It's painful watching people lied to. That's bad enough. But watching really, really stupid, obvious lies and yet people believe them, it's insanity. Okay. Or if I can switch this thing up to the other side. I don't think you can do that once you're rolling. Forgive me, I'm new at this, and I'm not very good. But, yeah, we're going for the content anyway, huh? Yeah. Well, I guess I can always do this. Yeah, that's not bad, is it? I think I found my old pictures. I got an old external hard drive. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. I gotta take it somewhere where they got a port. I think it's the thing it plugs into is got a glitch in it. Either a port or I need a computer technician to go through it and extract the data. I'm going to be in Moscow next week. hopefully might be able to have a little jaunt down to the border where they say all the masses of Russian troops are, and have a look-see, because I kind of think that it's not what they say it is. Oh yeah, this is paradise for kids with skateboards and kick scooters. They got such great sidewalks now everywhere. I keep beating that dead horse too. This all used to be broken concrete and sinking into the mud, and it's all been redone after the referendum. Some of you have asked me about exactly what the referendum is, and going to do a video on that next week, give you all the details. It was really brilliant the way they did it. They had one before. They had one in 1991, and they voted overwhelmingly to stay with Russia, not go with Ukraine. This was, after all, a closed military city that belonged to the Russian Federation. They don't tell you that in the West, do they? Geez, I guess they forgot. Anyway, that referendum was ignored. The referendum they had more recently couldn't be ignored because there's all kinds of ugly stuff going to happen here, like it did in Donetsk. We'd be in full tilt warfare right now like they are if they hadn't had a referendum. Know that. Please, at least pay attention to that. And they say, Russia invaded Crimea and took it away from Ukraine. You know nothing about the history of it, if you believe that. It's crazy. I gotta find a bench. Nikki, Dima, хочешь играть? Да. Okay. Слушай, Nikki! Nikki! Папа сидит там. Хорошо? Нужен что-нибудь? Папа. Вот. Хорошо? Okay, играй. Automatic babysitter. Anyway, it's absolute madness what they're saying. Where was I? Oh yeah, I'm going to do a video on the referendum. I gotta get some materials and make sure I get all the dates and everything right, because that's important. But and the procedure, as I remember it, I gotta check and make sure I'm not misremembering. We all do that a little bit sometimes. But anyway, they set it up where if people didn't vote, if they ignored it, if they didn't go to the polls, that was counted as a vote against. I mean, to say that was biased towards, fudging the election towards independence is absurd. It's actually biased the other way, and it still came out like 89, if I remember, 89% voter turnout. And it was in the 90s for in favor of. And look what they did. This is beautiful. I didn't mind it the old way, because to me, my understanding of politics and law is that if you're in a place where the government doesn't even have enough money to fix up anything, and you got ridiculously corrupt oligarchs in the government stealing everything that isn't nailed down, you can have a little bit of freedom there. They don't have time to mess with me. If things get ugly, you can just throw a little money at them and they go away. And that's really the way it was in here. I don't think I even ever had a license on my car. A lot of people didn't, you just live your life here, and just everything direct, and what little bureaucracy you had to deal with. They just want a little bribe, that's all. They can't do that now. The Russians really straighten things out. It's different. It's a little more expensive, but they're developing this place. They're developing this area. It had a lot of potential, but the Ukrainians just wasted it because they couldn't help themselves. They had to steal everything before it even gets started. But that's okay, because people like Biden ended up with a lot of the money. You got your U.S. aid and your International Monetary Fund and your outfits that are supposed to take care of monitor and take care of historical sites like UNESCO and stuff like that. Well, they had funds that they gave to countries like this, and they it just disappeared in a black hole, and some of it recirculated to the people that distributed it. That's the way the carousel works. It's a mess, but they don't have that now. And they fixed everything. They restored everything. They restored Kersenez, Chufkalia. I haven't been there in a while, but I saw last time I was there, they were fixing it up after the referendum. Lots of ancient historical sites around here that they're getting some money into them now, but they're not blocking them off and giving you high prices to enter and all that stuff either. You know, it's a win-win. Infrastructure is really taking off here. I can't emphasize that enough, because I can still go on YouTube and see these videos that they promote, and they'll put in my box, and you really need to watch this. This is for you. You know, they promote these videos that say, "Well, those Crimeans sure are sorry they joined Russia now." I think Vice has one that's just ridiculous. Putin's thugs are going around beating people up and kicking doors in. No, they're doing that in Ukraine, where the U.S. runs everything. I think I've mentioned this before. I had a back and forth with a guy. I think he's working for the State Department. He's living in Kyiv, and back right about 2014 or so. And he kept regurgitating NATO talking points. There are no Nazis in Ukraine. That's a figment of the Russian paranoid imagination. Yeah, really? And he was talking about the oppression and everything in Crimea. I said, I'll give you a challenge. This is an older guy. I knew who he was. He didn't know I knew who he was, because I had a run-in with him earlier. He asked me to review a book that he'd written. It was really lame. It was a tome. It just kept flogging away on the dead horses and ignoring elephants in the room. But I didn't know where to start with it. But anyway, I found this guy on different paleoconservative sites going along with the NATO talking points. And 1 minute, please. Что?
Пап, у тебя есть что-то?
Есть что?
У тебя есть что-то?
Есть что? Громко, пожалуйста.
У тебя есть что-то?
Что-то. Что-то. Что ты хочешь?
Прямо хочет чупа-чупс. Нет.
О, тебе есть деньги. Да, чупа-чупс.
Нет,
Скажи, я скажу, 7 минут нет. Позже, чупа-чупс позже. Хорошо? Папа робот. Минуточку, играй. They want lollipops and airplanes. I usually bring these little balsa wood rubber band wind-up airplanes. He loves those things. I've never seen them here. I'm sure they sell them here somewhere, but you could buy a whole box of them for like $7 at Tractor Supply. But I didn't bring any this time. The baggage restrictions have really gone crazy. They don't weigh much. I probably could have stuffed them in my bag, but I try to travel light as possible. And I thought I had some here. They're all gone, apparently. I can't find them. Gee, wonder what happened to them. Might have used them all up. They don't last forever. That'd be a good project to make some from scratch. I could make stuff like that. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. Where was I? I don't remember. Referendums, infrastructure, Vice News. Oh yeah, that Vice News video is just patently ridiculous on its face. Absolute misinformation, malinformation. It's provably not true. They used to be pretty good a long time ago. I don't know what happened. Oh, it was a popular platform and other people got a hold of it. I think Gavin McInnes was in the original structure on that. He seems like he's pretty all right. I don't know what he's doing now, but the people in it now are just... Oh yeah, the professor up there in Kyiv. I challenged him. I said, well, if that's the way everything's the way you say it is, we'll do something. You and me. Okay, I'll take a Bandera flag and I'll walk back and forth up and down in front of the naval headquarters here. There's lots of people for, half an hour or so. And you take and put a little St. George ribbon on your lapel and walk around in front of the Verona Radna for 5 minutes. We'll see which one of us gets beat up. I never heard from him again. But it's true. They're tearing down everything that has any mention of Russia or even inculcates that there's some sort of Russian influence there. They're not doing that here with Ukraine. Anyway, should I just say these things one time and leave it at that? Well, they're flogging away with the malinformation. I don't know. I don't know if it does any good. People choose to believe what they want, what fits their existential philosophy and their own actions, what they want to believe. You choose your beliefs. They aren't imposed on you. Well, they're imposed on some people by logic and reason, if you're willing to let those things guide you. Some people aren't. Logic and reason and facts, you could bury them with them. It doesn't reach them. It doesn't do any good. Rhetoric does, though. And with your rhetoric, what are you appealing to? The imagination, romantic imagination, people's appetites, really low frequency reptilian type stuff. Some people, that's all they're motivated by. What can you do with them? I've been reading an interesting book called The Final Kingdom. It's the fourth political theory book, like I tried to do. This guy's good. I'll show it to you sometime. Pyotr Volkov, I think is his name. One of the points he makes is there's only two races. And this is true. There's only two races. It's a spiritual thing, not just physical. I think the physical follows the spiritual. The physical manifests the spiritual realities. He says there's only two races. The children of God and the children of the devil. And it's not Calvinism either, not predestination, although I think there's a little bit of that that figures in, but it's mainly you choose, you decide. And you can be swayed by information. You can be swayed by rhetoric, but mainly you're swayed by the Spirit. It's basic Christianity, Orthodox Christianity. You Protestants probably very unfamiliar with the second book of Enoch. Jesus was familiar with it, and so were some of the apostles. They said things that only could have come from that. All Jews in the Second Temple period knew Second Temple literature. It wasn't included in the Bible. It's in the Apocrypha, I think, of the Catholics. And, of course, the Orthodox Church Protestants are totally unfamiliar with that literature. They consider it irrelevant. But it has a lot of explanations for things and a lot of principles. Something I thought was really interesting is the Elohim, the sons of God, the heavenly council that rebelled against God, had sons with human women, hybrids, giants, Nephilim. And they weren't created by God. They were monsters. They were created by disobedience. Can they make a choice? Can they choose to serve God? No, apparently not. They're all condemned. So, but for humans, there's always a choice. Some people are just stubborn. They double down. They see goodness, they see patience, they see kindness. It pisses them off and they want to do something to it. Yeah. Two races. And they can always be swayed, they can always be influenced, or they can be contained humanely. That's orthodoxy. You don't kill people unnecessarily. Americans like these snarky little sayings like, we'll kill them all, let God sort them out. Well, he's going to sort you out for that attitude. He will. This is nice. I like it here. There's a lot of war memorials in this park. This park is dedicated to women soldiers from World War II. I don't remember the name of it. I think this street back here is named after one. I've been away for 6 months. I've only been back a little over a week. And my listening skills go down a lot worse than my speaking skills. They both go down horribly from being away. But my listening skills are terrible. They'll get better, they'll get sharper. People come up and talk to me clearly and I just can't remember what that word means. It'll come back. Worst case scenario, I'm going to be here at least 6 months anyway. Have to, for immigration reasons. Plan on staying here for good, but we'll see what happens. Something's happening right now. Don't know exactly what it is. I'm going to go to Moscow next week. I'll be around a bunch of people that know a lot more about it than I do firsthand. Like I said, I might be able to even run down and take a look for myself. Can get myself banned on YouTube if I don't watch it. They have some strange things on YouTube that they don't ban. But they have seeing what they ban and what they don't ban tells you a lot about them. Tells you a lot about what they believe and they want to accomplish, what they want to do. My wife is doing some work for a company she works for at home. I'm getting the kids out of her hair. I have my work too. I'm doing it right now. I don't have to do it at home. I can do it out on the street instead of sitting at a desk. But then if I'm sitting at a desk and I have my computer open and my materials in front of me, a little more coherent. Here I'm just like stream of consciousness. Got a lot of things to take care of, a lot of things to do. So sometimes there's little glitches, but it's all good. I think it's least entertaining. You get something out of this, I hope. We all have intuition, and you can use your intuition in a lot of cases to see if somebody's lying to you. Use your intuition, along with logic and reason, strategic thinking, logical consistencies. See if anybody's violating the laws of identity and trying to change the meaning of words when they talk to you. Yeah, there's a lot of fugazi people out trying to pull stuff and showing you something and representing it as something else, or representing themselves as somebody else. It always pays to dig. It's harder and harder to do now, though. Google has lost its function. Google does not even serve the purpose that it did earlier when it first came out, when you could look for stuff and the algorithms as the searches would bring up whatever was foremost. Well, it doesn't now. It's been cut. Somebody's looking at it and say, oh no, we don't want people to know that, and they're stepping on it and putting these little educational stuff your way, thinking they're going to spin you. It's really pathetic because it doesn't work. Well, it works with really low information people that want to believe the narrative. And I've said it before, the narrative is a shit sandwich. They put sugar in it. You know, you can LARP as a hero, you can say you have an exceptional country, the world police, you're bringing democracy to people and women's rights and all this stuff. That's the sugar in your shit sandwich. You like that sugar, don't you? A lot of people do. They're all just diving into it. They got shit smeared all over their mouth and they're, I'm flattening the curve. I'm saving grandma. I'm bringing democracy to them stupid Hajis and them commies. Yeah, keep believing that. It's to your own detriment. It's causing you to act contrary to your own interest, and you're being very destructive to other people's interests. It's one thing to be a criminal, but it's another one to be a stupid dupe for a criminal. That's even worse. It's pretty pathetic. These goons that are going around sticking their nightsticks into people's ribs and clubbing them because they're not wearing masks. They were doing that recently in Australia. Why are they doing that? They don't have a place at the table. The people setting these things off, if they get what they want, they're going to do away with you guys just like everybody else. They don't have any use for you. You don't have a place at their table. So you throw your own people under the bus, and then you end up with nothing. Worse than nothing. They really don't like you because you're familiar with violence, and they don't like that. You know the tactics and the equipment and stuff. Yeah, they'll get rid of you. They probably got a plan for it. I'm sure they do. Did you take all your medicine? Did you do all the things they told you to? Might be a timer on some of that stuff. I don't know. You don't believe it? Might want to think about it. Things might be turning now. I don't know. This trucker thing, I don't know, on the face it looks good, but there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes we don't know about. Might be good, might be bad, might be a big freaking trap. I don't know. But you got to do what you got to do. They can set traps, and then the traps could be turned on them. You can turn them around. Sometimes they miscalculate. There's another aspect of it you might want to consider. The whole founding of the U.S. happened kind of like this. Your governors and your oligarchs at that time, the elites, the rich people, the lords and ladies that were in charge of things in the colony, they saw the way things were going. It was ossified. All these inbred, stupid, posh people in the king's court had locked everything up, and they were extracting everything out of it, and it was just frozen. Everything was just, nothing's going anywhere. They were sitting on everybody's heads, just extracting everything they could out of everything. And they saw this land with all this opportunity and all these riches, and it was isolated from the motherland, and they saw an opportunity to break off a piece of the action for themselves. But to do it, they had to get the people behind them. And to do that, they put out a lot of rhetoric about freedom and God-given rights and all that stuff. It was very dangerous. They took a hell of a chance. And it kind of went off the reservation on them, I think. Well, some of them were true believers, but a lot of them were just cynically using this stuff. And they did break off a piece of the action for themselves. And before things even settled down, they had to have the Whiskey Rebellion. You can imagine all those Revolutionary War veterans. Oh, what? We got to get licenses to make liquor? What the hell do we just fight a war for? You want to be the king now, don't you? But then again, you don't want the whole nation to be a bunch of people out in the mountains and nooks and crannies making liquor, and the main product being alcohol instead of grain and finished goods. I guess they were kind of afraid things were going that way. So I don't know, something to think about. I think Jeff Spicoli in Fast Times at Ridgemont High said it best when he was given his history quiz in his bedroom by Mr. Hond. That was brilliant. I don't usually refer to movies very much, but that was a good one. He said, we're just going to go somewhere and have our own cool rules so that we could be bogus too. Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Took them a long time to get the lid screwed back down on things, and the control went back to the City of London in 1913 with the Federal Reserve Act. So you're dealing with magic money now that all keeps circulating and growing and growing and growing, so you have to work harder and harder and have less and less control. There's a limit to that too, even if it goes the way they want it to. And now they want to go to a new system, which is going to be community guidelines, behavioral control. It'll be compliance currency. Where do I get this? They've written books about it. The most powerful people in the world, the richest people in the world, they've written books about it that I read. They do TED Talks, or they have their project managers do TED Talks and their representatives. do speeches. They do speeches at Davos. That's what they want to do. They want compliance currency. And it's all digitized. Everything's absolutely controlled. Everything has a chip. Everything is tracked for its entire life. You won't be able to pick up a stick off the ground and carve a spoon out of it without their permission and them getting a cut. And then when you throw the spoon in the fire, well, that's energy. You got to pay for that too. That's what they want. It's crazy, but they have the technology to do it now. They're trying to implement it, and you're helping them. They're doing it with your money. You buy into their systems, you're helping them. If you're a police officer or you're a soldier and you obey their orders, you're helping them. They put some sugar in your shit sandwich and tell you you're a goddamn hero, you're spreading democracy, and you're saving babies. No, you're not. Smedley Butler discovered this 100 years ago. He wrote a book called War is a Racket. Oh, you want to read some book by some lefty like Smedley Butler. He was the most highly decorated Marine in U.S. history. You might want to listen to him if you're a gung-ho military guy. You know what he's talking about. He is a real hero. Anyway, this has just turned into a rant. I gotta go buy lollipops. Where do you live? What are things like where you are? Can you let your kids out of your sight? In a park? It's pretty sweet here. We have a security system. I haven't seen any cameras in any of these parks. They don't need them. We don't need cameras. We don't need security. We have babushkas. At any given place, there are literally hundreds of windows looking out over you. All these buildings, all these Khrushchev era buildings and the high-rise buildings, they're everywhere. And a lot of elderly women just love sitting in front of the window and sipping their tea and watching everything. Hell, some of them probably got binoculars. And anything goes sketchy or weird, they're on the phone, or they come down and deal with it themselves. They aren't afraid of anything. Yeah, babushkas are Russia's national treasure. Oh, they're not without their downside too. I get scolded a lot for, little infractions and things I have to do, but yeah, not that much. You get used to it. You say da 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 baba spasiba. Some of the real old hardcore ones, you don't see them very much anymore. They're passing on. The ones that really went through some hardships. They had everything was so overgrown here. A lot of these pathways and walkways, even along the road, they had big, heavy, thick bushes and trees on both sides, and they grew up into each other at the top. So it's like a tunnel, but it's only about a 5-foot tall tunnel. You had to duck. I had to duck down and walk through it. Babushkas didn't. Most of them are only about 5 foot tall anyway, and they're also very hunched over from a life of stoop labor back in the old days and bad nutrition during the sieges and everything. World War II, you don't know what they went through. But there's not many of them left. But I called them babushka tunnels. I got pictures of them. Don't worry, I'll find them. I got to get that hard drive gone through and see if somebody can recover the data from it. I got other bits cached somewhere. It's just that that's one thing about life here. Everything is very, very chintzy and small as far as your living space and your living quarters, especially Khrushchev era stuff. I have a storage room downstairs. It's about probably 5 feet by 12 feet, and it's kind of big. I gotta pull everything out, to get to the Christmas tree. I gotta pull everything out to get something that the wife wants or something. It's just it's packed to the ceiling from the front. It's hard to organize. It's like that. I'll keep looking. Not today. I'll get that hard drive gone through when I get to Moscow. I'll find somebody that can do it, somebody with a port. Pretty sure the stuff's on it. It's nice and peaceful here. Look at these lamps. Check these lamps out. You got rows of them. I think they're very Jetson looking, you know, look like something out of the space age. But then also they have a retro appearance, almost Art Nouveau. Not quite fancy enough for that. Art Deco maybe. Very technical. Of course, they're LEDs. It has a little disc of LEDs that reflects downwards. I haven't even been here at night to see what they light up like. I'll have to do that sometime. I don't get out at night very much. I need to do that more often. Nice, weather's nice. Okay, I need to start writing this stuff down. I need to make videos. I'm going to make another video about some characters that I've met. I'm going to focus on another one. This guy might still be alive, but I don't think he'd ever see it. If he did, he would probably be kind of embarrassed by, you know, somebody talking nice about him. I'll do another one of those. I'm going to do a video about dogs. Or dogs, if you're down south. I'm talking dogs. You Yankees, it's dogs. Well, it's kind of an East Coast thing. Dogs. Canines. Perro. Sabaca. I could do an hour-long video on dogs because they're very, very complex. The relationship that Russians have with their dogs and the various kinds here. There's a lot of wild dogs. You call them stray dogs. There's also wild dogs. There's wild dogs, and then there's pets, tame dogs, and there's a spectrum between them. And there's different levels. There's wild dogs that won't come within anywhere near humans unless they're chasing something and runs to you, like cats. Cats always run to humans when they're being chased by a pack of dogs. I got stories about that. Same thing with jackals in Afghanistan. I had a cat run between my legs, and then 5 jackals come running up. They had a hard time putting on the brakes. They almost ran into me. Anyway, I got a lot of stories about dogs. Wild dogs, stray dogs that are friendly to people, stray dogs that are actually pets. Some people have pets they never take home with them, never leave them in their house. They go to their business, the dog meets them at the bus stop, follows them to the shop they work at, they feed it, the dog hangs out and guards the shop. Real good guards too. People go through, they get in and out buying stuff, and I watch this, and then somebody comes around acting weird and sketchy. You know, the dog growls at him and snaps at him, runs him off and chases him all the way out of the area and comes back and lays down. It's just a stray dog. He didn't go in the house. He never goes home with a guy. He probably don't even know where he lives. He meets him at the bus stop. You have pets like that here. Not exclusively, and it's probably getting less and less. Then people have dogs in their houses. Little old ladies have little tiny lap dogs, and then there's wild dogs. They don't take them to the pound and terminate them if nobody wants them here. They leave them alone. They sterilize them, put an ear tag in them, turn them loose back in the area where they got them, or maybe it's a mobile system. I've never seen it. But anyway, they wind up showing up with ear tags. They don't get taken out anywhere unless they're in a place where they're a nuisance, and they get moved somewhere else where they won't be. It's pretty interesting. I'll do a long one on dogs and another one on referendum details, how it worked, and another character sketch. That's what I'm going to do next week. There might be some gaps. Might not be able to put one in every day. I'm trying to load some up so I can at least download them. But I'm going to be busy when I'm in Moscow, and I'll make some videos while I'm there too. Might do some interviews if I'm lucky. I like doing interviews. Want to interview me? If you're a good interviewer, we'll make magic. Yeah, really. For those of you that don't know it, I did an interview on Red Pill 78. That guy's good. He's smart. He's very, very methodical and very logical. It was a good interview. I enjoyed it, and it turned out pretty good. I'm still going to keep looking. I don't have a copy of it. I should have made an archive. I'm not that tech savvy. I did an interview years and years ago, back soon after the referendum, with Morris 108. That guy was a diamond. He really was. He moved to Cambodia so he could rent a place for like $40 a month and have real small expenses, so he could keep putting blogs out and keep putting videos out and telling people the truth about this stuff. He died not too long ago. He's a great guy. His real name was Maurice Herman. I think he started out in the regular media and they gave him the old boot because he couldn't keep his mouth shut about the truth. Yeah. So anyway, there's that. Sheikh Imran Hossein did a tribute to him. Sheikh Imran is he's a teacher. He's a Muslim teacher. Very, very scholarly, well-balanced, nice, congenial guy. I like watching him. I first learned about the principles of Islam through an outfit that was hostile to Islam, but they did a trick. They said they teach right straight from the Quran as interpreted by the Hadith and the Sunnah. Who was that did that? Some Canadian guy. He got in trouble for it too. The Canadian Human Rights Commission wrote him up, but he was teaching Islam exactly what it says, but he left out the jurisprudence. He was basically teaching takfirism, or it's a heresy. What the U.S. inculcates in these terrorist groups is any good Muslim, it is their duty to go and kill shirks and infidels. No, that's not how it works. It says that, but this has to go through a judicial system, Islamic jurisprudence, and there should be some logic given to that. You could take the Bible and say you should stone people to death for various and sundry sins that are actually promoted these days, and say, well, this is shocking. They say you're supposed to stone these people to death. Well, it had to have been through a jury, through the elders and the community and everything. Any Tom, Dick, and Harry couldn't just grab somebody and start stoning them because you accuse them of some sin. But you can make it out like that if you want, and that's what they're doing with the Quran. And there are people that do that. There are takfirs, yeah. There are people who are, you call them Islamic fundamentalists in the U.S. It's kind of a misnomer. But they're takfirs. They take it upon themselves to kill people who they decide in their own mind are guilty of some violation of Quranic principles. That's not the way it's supposed to be. That's not the doctrine. It's not what it has been. Interesting thing to study is how the Ottoman Empire worked. The Ottoman Empire, they had Christian millets. I think there may have been Catholics and Orthodox, and of course Jews, Karaites, all kinds of different people. They had their own little places. There was self-rule, but it was in a matrix of Islam, and they could play them against each other anytime they thought they were getting out of line. And this whole area that used to be under control of the Ottoman Empire was run like that. And the British arbitrarily carved it up into a bunch of nations, and they made sure each nation included a bunch of different people that didn't get along with each other so they could control it. It's a tactic. So they could colonize and exploit it. And to this day, still having the repercussions from that. In a multipolar world, in a fourth political theory world, cultures, traditions, ethnicities have their own place where they can have their own rules. They can have their own cool rules, and they can be as bogus as they want. You know, that sounds like a dream, doesn't it? It's possible. With today's technology, it's very possible. And yet they could still be locked into a modular system of trade that has basic principles that everybody agrees on. It'd be a beautiful world, wouldn't it? I wrote a book kind of examining, some thought experiments along that lines a long time ago. I checked it for the first time. I don't even bother to check it anymore. It's unfortunately named and it's unfortunately categorized, but The name of it's Unified Separatism. I don't know why I came up with that. It's a good name for Google, though. You Google it, it'll bring you right to it. That's mainly why I did it. It's a unique name. But it's a good read. I'm not ashamed of it. I wrote it in a hurry. But it's a very short book, and it's cheap. It's only like $3 something, like less than $4. I did it through a publisher that has been sued for stepping on sales. So I don't know. They might be stepping on it. I might have sold a lot more copies than they say. I mean, why wouldn't they? They just keep the money, and there's nothing I can do about it. There's no way I can check it. They get the information. That was kind of a bad deal, but I was new at this. That's my first. I'm going to do another one sometime if I ever get myself where I can focus on it regularly without being interrupted. Might have to wait till my kids grow up. No, I could do this. I don't know if anybody even gives advances anymore, but anyway, it's worth a read. It's worth $4, and it would help me if people buy it. I'm in a very precarious position right now, but it's nothing new to me. I can handle it. I'm good. I'm not begging or asking for anything, but you know, instead of buying a Netflix movie who feeds bullshit down your gullet, maybe you should, you know, help somebody like me. If not me, there's plenty more. They could use it. Poor old Morris is living in Cambodia, so he can continue to do this. Nobody gave him any money. Very few people did. But he is still doing it. I'm still going to do it, no matter what. I'm going to do it. I'm going to freaking do it. I'm going to keep making these videos as long as I can put them up somewhere. I'm going to keep writing. And if they block all that off, I'll get me a soapbox and stand on the street corner. I'll do it, too. You just watch me. Wish there were more of us.
Oh, Uncle Billy, if I do that, I might get into trouble.
Yeah, if you don't do it, you're going to get in real trouble, and your children's lives are going to be horrifying. Support us, or do something, or both. At least spread the videos around, share them with people.
Oh, if I do that, I might get kicked off Facebook.
I should have been kicked off Facebook about 1 million times by now. If it happens, no big deal. Ooh, I need to remember to back up all my contacts. Well, okay, that's important. Well, I better go check on the kiddos. Haven't seen one in a while. They settled down somewhere behind something, as they often do. They want lollipops, chupa chups. I don't know if that's the proper name. That's what they call them. They call them chupa chups. They have these things like blow pops, and they're like, oh yeah, like you can buy a handful of them for a couple of rubles. I guess I can walk and talk again. It's easy to get distracted, but this is good, right? This working? I don't know. I think they're stepping on my comments. It's weird because when I first put a video in, boom, 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 2 or 3 comments come up, and then when I go back, they're gone, and it says I have 0 comments, or it might say I have 25 comments, but there's only 3 of them visible. I don't know what's up with that. I would like more feedback than that. Well, I'm sure it's a technical problem, and it's, you know, nothing they could do about it. Might be on purpose. I don't know. I don't even care anymore. I would like some more feedback, though. I'm going to make sure. I'm pretty sure I got some of my email addresses on unclebilly.com. You can go to there. I'll make sure they're in there in the next few days. So we'll wait a few days and go to unclebilly.com, and I have contact information there. If you really have something you want to say and I don't respond, or it didn't, I don't know if the comments aren't showing up just in my feed or other people can see them. I don't know what the deal is. But I'm going to put my emails available, and people really have something important and pertinent, or they want to collaborate or something, you can contact me direct with the emails. That'd be better. Well, they can mess with those too. I think I've told this story before. I had a guy in Siberia I was contacting. We were going back and forth, and he had a lot of information to share, and I had a lot of questions. Uh-oh, here they come again. So I emailed him, and he finally sent me a big email back, probably containing answers to all my questions. It's a really long email. And I opened it up all excited, started reading it, and I got like the second paragraph, and poof, it disappeared. Went back, the page disappeared, and my inbox is back up there, and it wasn't in there. The hell is that? I asked him if he had burned mail or something weird like that. He says, no. Who can go in and make your email disappear while you're reading it? Yeah. Well, I'm open for any kind of answer on that, but I'm pretty sure what happened. Yeah, I have a lot of weird stuff happen. We'll go into that too. I'll talk about it. I don't care. I'm a truth berserker. I'm all out. I'm all in. Let's take a walk. Oh, just chupa chups?
Да.
Okay. There's magazine.
Там.
Tom? Tom told you. Let's go this way.
Мы скоро пойдем.
Привет. George.
Я ничего не видел.
Дима. School? Тебе друг? Как зовут?
Артем.
Artem? Yeah, хорошо. I professional vlogger. Uh-oh. Is this still on? Okay, I'm gonna shut this off. This is enough for now. Uncle Bill D signing out. I'll make another one right after this somewhere.